So I think we're live. We're just waiting for a few people to join. So we have 4 people watching. Hey, welcome. Hi everyone. So I think we are set up good. Can you just let me know if the audio and video looks good? Because it's the first time I have live streamed through this software in a while, OBS. So feel free to ask any questions or say hi. Let me know you're alive. Hey Crystal, welcome. Hi Crystal and Crystal. Well, first 2 people on both called Crystal. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been live on YouTube, so okay, great, awesome. Yeah, I've not been live on YouTube since just after I had my contact experience in September with the Yael. So, hi Taylor, welcome. So, I'm not sure really what I'm going to talk about. I just saw this. So you've maybe seen the footage that I'm talking about, the Utah UFO as it's been called. It was just released a couple of weeks ago, I think, by some guy, I believe, who was a professional. What are they called? I can't remember what they're called. My mind is gone. A professional cameraman drone cameraman. I was going to call them droids. Professional droid cameraman. We haven't got our own droids yet, like in Star Wars, but we've got drones. We're almost there. So yeah, there was this footage captured by this guy who was a professional drone cameraman out in the mountains of Utah, and he captured this interesting footage. So I'll just see if I can get it up for you guys now and play you it. So I haven't really got my head round so if I do it like, yeah, I ain't got my head round OBS. Something's not working right as it normally did or whatnot, but anyway, we can get it up pretty good. So I will make myself small. And make OBS small as well. Will it not go any smaller? Nope. So okay, so I will play the footage. You've maybe seen this already. Can we make it a bit bigger, a little bit bigger? Right. Yeah, I'll just play it like this because then we know what we're doing. So, got 11 watching. Not bad for an unscheduled ad hoc first live stream in several months. So, let's play this. Let me know if you can see this. So you maybe just saw it, and here it is. So it's really interesting. It doesn't look like a bird at all to me. So the best alternative that I've heard from anyone, we just watched a minute of footage already. How bizarre. That was really weird. I played the whole of this. I felt like it had been about 15 seconds and it said it had been 1 minute 30 on the video. How bizarre. Maybe it was more or less. I don't know. Time changes when you're channeling. Maybe it changes also when you're watching UFO videos. So let me know if you can, how clearly you can see this. So I'm not sure if I don't think this is the original, or maybe it is. It says so this is maybe is the original. So it's a guy called Brian Hanley, and he says, I usually cover politics, but when Sam Chortek and Jimmy Chappie came to me with this exclusive UAP footage. What's UAP? Unidentified aerial phenomenon. Oh, he's going with the funky new term. That's the one that Hillary Clinton claimed the rights to in the election. So, with this exclusive UAP footage, unidentified aerial phenomenon. What's wrong with good old UFO? So, I usually cover politics, but when Sam Chortek and Jimmy Chappie came to me with this exclusive UAP footage, I had to break the story. This video has never been seen by the public until now, so it looks like this is the original video. And he's done a good job of it. Well, I've not watched the whole video, but certainly he's done a good job of cutting together the important parts. I thought I saw something else. Maybe this is different to what I saw. I don't know. Weird. Or maybe I saw the raw footage. And so you don't. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it just whizzes by, and I just thought it was maybe just a bird or a bug. But then Richard Dolan recently, just today, a video came out. I like Richard Dolan. He's a fantastic, scientific sort of. Well, he probably wouldn't call himself a scientist. He's a UFO historian, I think is what he would call himself. But he's very analytical, and from a physical 3D world, analysing data and making rational decisions. You can't really beat Richard Dolan. He's come out with good rational decisions about pretty much everything, except for maybe the spiritual world. There was one thing I didn't agree with. He mentioned that he thought the what was it, something like the West Coast or the LA New Age movement is the biggest threat to humanity at the moment, or something. It was when he was analysing the Corey Goode material and saying how the Corey Goode material sells itself to the New Age movement, and he said he made some derogatory terms about the New Age movement. He said they were the biggest threat to humanity or something. So, but we'll let him go on that one. And of course, some of the New Age movement is a bit airy-fairy and not really getting anywhere. But anyway, so where are we? So I'll check. Let me know if you yeah. So we can see the chat coming back. What's going on? I'm totally. Oh no, because this is the watch page. It gets so confusing when you're watching all these windows. Facebook never lets me in. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm having a break from Facebook at the minute anyway. Mostly a break. Yeah. So one person saying, "I've seen this video. Looks very real." Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. We can see it. Yeah. So everyone's seeing it pretty clear. So we'll go back to it because there's some slow. It's a great. He's done a great job of releasing it because there's some. It's Brian Hanley. So check out the original video, just Brian Hanley down here. Subscribe to his channel. Well, maybe don't because he took up his politics, but so yeah. So I wrote it off as a bird of it. I didn't see it properly, but now I'm looking at this. Certainly slowed down, and it's not just the whizzing through. It comes in seems to go up on the side and then level out. So Richard Dolan talked about it, and he said he thought it could be some guy he respects who's good at analysing said he thought it was a bird. And I didn't really understand Richard Dolan. Well, I thought I understood it, but check it out. Richard Dolan's he's just released a video on this today, and from what I understood, I was listening to it while I was working, doing my gardening job, so I wasn't that clued in on it. But This looks very interesting. It just does not look like a bird at all. But he says this guy that he respects analysing this stuff said he thought it was a bird. And the guy analysed it and said he thought it was doing about 25 miles an hour. But he said the other analysis he saw thought it was doing 3 miles per second. So that's a bit of a difference. 25 miles an hour. One bit he's saying he was talking about doing 25 miles an hour, and then another bit he's talking about it doing 3 miles a second, which is something like 20,000 miles an hour, or 25,000 miles an hour. So that's a big difference. And it really doesn't look like a bird at all to me. So you can see as we're watching it. Maybe we can open it up a bit more. A bit more. Let's go back to the start. See, I've not watched this properly. It's the first time I've seen it on a big screen properly and had a good look at it. So what do you guys think it is? The reason I don't think it's a bird, I mean, I guess it could be like a falcon, like a peregrine falcon, like coming down from like a high velocity dive and suddenly like leveling out. But it looks too mechanical. It looks too perfect. I mean, that trajectory is like zoom, and the way it banks and turns. I mean, it looks like something out of Star Wars. It looks like CGI. I don't think it is CGI because, for one, a lot of like people in the know have analysed this, and I haven't heard anyone saying it's CGI. Like, no one's claiming it's CGI. It doesn't look like CGI. The way it's in the image doesn't look like CGI. It looks like it's part of the image, but the way it's moving looks like CGI because it's like so perfect, so smooth. And look at it bank now. It banks. Like banks when it turns. So it's interesting. So we look at that again. If you look at it from the start, it sort of comes in flat and then it seems to bank and then it levels out as it turns. It's almost like it's banking when it's turning. Which my guess is it's this is like just 190 miles from Area 51, and it sounds like a long distance away. But when you see that some people are estimating it doing the speed being 3 miles per second, that's not so. That's like 1 minute away, isn't it? Just like. It's just over a minute away. So if you've got something that's travelling at 3 miles per second, 190 miles is like nearby. It's like 1 minute away, just over 1 minute away, I think. Yeah. 3 miles a second, 60 seconds, 180 miles. So yeah, so it's just over 1 minute to get here from Area 51. My guess is, particularly the way it banks. If you look at the way it's banking, like I've never seen any footage of like an ET vehicle banking. Like I think if it was like an ET saucer, which is probably looks like it's too small. It looks fairly small to me, in my estimation. I think if it was an ET saucer, it wouldn't be banking. Like they all tend to stay flat, you know, because they don't want to be on their side. They have the technology to enable them to stay. I mean, they could be having fun, I guess. I guess, you know, maybe they can do that, and maybe they like to have fun and like go on the side. I don't know. Maybe some ET crafts do go on the side like that, but that's more looks like. I think it's in my analysis, it's probably from Area 51. It's probably a underground black budget program. It's probably a military program. It's some military technology. It's you got to ask what is the if it is, what is the propulsion method? Because it certainly doesn't seem to be using like jet fuel. There's like no contrails or fire behind it or anything. It seems to be. So what could it be? An ion drive? Wasn't this one thing that they were exploring? It doesn't even look like that. It looks like yeah, it's weird because it seems to turn, it seems to bank. And also the guy, going back to the bird theory, because really the only theory the debunkers have come up with is that it could be a bird. This seems like the skeptic, the cynic theory. So what was I going to say? Yeah, oh yeah, the guy who made the original video, who released this, he's a professional cameraman, and his words, I believe he was saying that he sees a lot of birds. You know, he captures birds and insects and that on video all the time. And in his opinion, this looks very different, which is what caused him to release it. And he seems to be from. I think I heard him speak. I think he speaks in this video. I've not watched it all, but I watched half of it. And he doesn't sound like this kind of guy that's just going to make fake UFO videos. He sounds like a sort of, you know, professional film man's just the way he was talking didn't sound like he was making it up at all to me. I guess it could be like very good CGI. Normally, to me, CGI tends to stand out a mile off to me, personally. What's this? This is something else. This is a was that the Tic Tac UFO from that sort of footage? I'm just going to try and tune into the energy of it and see what I pick up energy-wise. Get that first one at full speed. Yeah, in my opinion, it's most likely, it feels like it might have ET tech, might be reversed engineered ET technology. Which if it comes from Area 51, I think it most highly likely is on some level. So I'll just go back to see what the comments are saying in the chat. Where are we? Yes, so one person saying, imagine the little people inside that thing, what must they be? Well, they could be little beings. My guess is it's more likely unmanned. Like you say, it looks small, doesn't it? I can't always tell from the camera angle, but it looks small to me. My guess is it's unmanned, it's a test vehicle, and it's coming from out of Area 51, which is, even though it's 190 miles away, it's just over 1 minute away, if we go by some estimates of 3 miles per second. which is which is about twice the speed of anything known to man at present. I believe the fastest craft on the planet do about Mach 9, and even that is up in the high atmosphere where there's less resistance. So by some estimates it's doing like twice the speed of anything we know of. Someone's saying, sure, fastest hawk I've ever seen. Yeah, it does seem to be going incredibly fast. I mean, they do talk about peregrine falcons going extremely high speeds. So I guess when they're diving, when they're diving, not when they're flying. So, yeah, it doesn't look like a bird at all to me. Like, it is a very fast hawk. I'd be interested to see, like Richard Dolan was saying, like these people that are saying it's they think it's a hawk or a falcon or something, to get to show us some footage of, of a falcon moving that fast, because I think to claim it's a bird, you really need some similar footage of an example of a bird doing that. Really, I mean, if birds do that, there should be plenty of footage of birds flying at that fast, at that strange trajectory, at that strange perfect linearity. Yeah, someone's saying it looks small, but who knows how far away it was or whatever. Yeah, we can't know the size for sure. It's always hard to judge from film, but generally I think you do get a sort of feeling for it. You do get a sort of feeling. I think it probably is small, but we can't know for sure. I agree. A golf ball? I don't think it's a golf ball. That's some serious bend on that golf ball. Someone's got a serious slice to their swing. I don't think it's a golf ball. Eagle, lol. Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't look like a bird at all, in my opinion. It's probably a zapper to zap and potential planetary trouble. Yeah, it could be E.T. It could be E.T. Just because it doesn't look like other craft we've seen doesn't mean it's not. It could be some sort of ET drone. It could be some ET probe. Like a scout craft. They could be like the ETs sat up in their flying saucer with their little remote control pads. They probably don't look like our remote control pads. It looks like it would be tough to catch. It sure does. It looks like it's going at an incredible speed to me. I don't know about the one guy who estimated it was a bird doing 25 miles an hour. It doesn't look like a bird doing 25 miles an hour to me. I don't know. I don't know how anyone can estimate that at 25 miles an hour. So someone's saying the way it banks is very bird-like, and I guess this is what the so-called expert that Richard Dolan was quoting. Oh, that's not it. That's me. What's going on? Oh, yeah, we'll pause me. Where are we? Where have we gone? Here we are. We're back. So we'll play it again. Yes. Yeah, so some people are saying it's consistent with bird flight patterns. I mean, it could be. I guess it might be a bird. I think they're the two possibilities we've got. It could be like, yeah, this is what the bird expert or the expert, so-called expert, was saying. He said it was consistent with flight patterns of birds. It could be. Well, the way it banks, it does look, but the way it zips off so dead straight, don't know. It just doesn't. My instincts say not bird, but I guess it's a possibility. Yeah, it's definitely not swamp gas. I think that one's for sure. Swamp gas is an insider joke, by the way. Those of us that have been in the UFO field for some years. Some of the first debunking they ever came off with this famous guy where I think it was the guy from Project Blue Book when they tried to, or right early on, like back in the 50s and 60s, they were trying to, come out with all these reasons to like divert the public attention away from the idea we were being visited by extraterrestrials, because they didn't want people to know. And obviously, you're probably aware of that if you follow my channel, that there is a cover-up. So one of the ways they were debunking, they were saying it's swamp gas, and they're saying a little bit of swamp gas appears over here, disappears. Another piece of swamp gas appears over here, and it gives the illusion of teleportation, something like that. And so it became funny after a while, because when you've heard all the debunking stories, they start to get a bit ridiculous after a while, some of them. I was told it was a real higher dimensional vehicle and that more contact will be made and more crafts will be seen. Thank you. Thank you, Akasha. Yeah, it could be, like when I sense into the energy, it doesn't feel totally human, but it doesn't feel totally ET either. That's why I got the feeling maybe it's people working with ETs and with ET technology on reverse engineering stuff. That's the sort of energy I got from it. But and also I'm assuming that you're saying, well, I was told it was a real higher dimensional vehicle. I'm assuming you're implying that it's ET, and but higher dimensional. A lot of these technologies that the black budget programs are working with in Area 51 and. I was trying to think of the place next to it. What's it called? It's the one where obviously not relevant. So a lot of these technologies at S4 next to Area 51, both made publicly known by I can't remember anything. It's like if I'm not supposed to talk about it, I just can't remember it. What's his name? I did a video on him. Anyway, so shut up, Jonathan. Shut up, Xenoplex. So. Yeah, just because it's like extra dimensional doesn't necessarily mean that it's ET, because I'm sure like a lot of black budget tech from Area 51 and this stuff is like starting to understand higher dimensional physics. And so, although of course this, as we saw, it seems very in this dimension. Often people talk about seeing like orange balls of light, and then they'll transform into a black triangle, and when they're just in the ball of energy, that's often because they're not quite in this dimension, as I understand it from what Bashar says. Where are we? Just trying to find the questions. Yeah, the way it banks is very bird-like. Yeah, I agree. It does look a bit like a bird, the way it banks. Some rich white folks, humans playing with their toys. Yeah, I'm inclined to, that's, like I say, black budget military insiders, high-tech test facility. It's, I still have the raw video file for this. Where did you get that from, Floyd? Did you did the same channel release it, or? Yeah, someone saying to be open-minded is to be open to all possibilities. Yeah, totally. I'm trying to remain like skeptical, like centered in the middle. Like obviously we see this, we all want it to be something fantastical, but we're not really getting anywhere if we're just sort of like not looking at other possibilities. It looks dangerous potentially. It looks very, very dangerous potentially. Anything moving at that fast can be potentially dangerous. A weather balloon filled with swamp gas. Let's hope it's controlled by benevolent energy. Someone saying it's something extraterrestrial for sure, but can we truly rule out the weather balloon? Haha. We are in the time when everything will come out. Agreed. Whatever it is, it's under intelligent control. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's not like random movement. Someone saying, hi Jonathan, I got the same feeling from this video, ET Tech. Yeah, what happened in your close encounter with Floyd? I'm always interested to hear people's UFO stories. Both my yeah, it's interesting, the Floyd. Both my contact experiences occurred September the 21st, 2009 and September the 11th, 2018. And I've got this theory, there's these 9-year cycles, and so you'd be 8 years prior to that, sort of at the beginning of another cycle. And I believe this, like these cycles we're going through, like we go through like a big shift in around 2000 and 2009, 2018, and the cycles repeat. So it's interesting to see that you had an experience in September, and also it seems to be around this September equinox time. So you had it in 2001, which would be sort of just a year within that 2000 window, which is interesting. Yeah, Tim 4 Hatter also, that's interesting. Some more backup, I didn't even see this comment, but Tim 4 is saying, guys, let's see what thing can do. I saw a triangle on January the 10th, 2000. I've been creeped out ever since, so that ties in with my theory as well. I'll probably do another video on this at some time, on these cycles of 9. And of course Bashar talks about cycles of 9. I've not watched this video, I've seen a clip to it, I think. Yeah, so just watch it a few more times. I'll probably do some more analysis, look into this a bit deeper and see what unfolds over the next few weeks, as I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people looking into this deeper. Try and tune into the energy one more time. It's quite an interesting energy, but it's definitely got a high consciousness energy, but that high consciousness energy could be like a high-tech research facility in Area 51, you know, where all the scientists are like loving what they're doing, like giving it a positive charge. So I'm sure it'd be pretty exciting working on this sort of technology. So looking at that there, it's like right, so we'll see if we can watch it full screen a few times. Watch it from the start. Footage captured by... I mean, that's going at some speed. It's like that's half speed. It does look a little like a bird. I mean, that does look like a bird, actually. I must admit, that's still there. Does look like a bird. You can almost make out a bird's head and an eye and two wings. But of course, it's likely that the craft is bird-shaped, as most planes are, most terrestrial craft are. Yeah, it does look like it's got like wings, like when it starts, like around here, it looks like the wings are up and then the wings come down a bit as it moves on. It does appear to do that. Yeah, of course, that could be part of the technology of the craft. It could, who knows? Watch the video out, see what we get. Yeah, it does look a bit like wings moving there, I must admit. It could be a bird. We could be getting all this over a bird. So, there you are, none the clearer after watching this video, but I'm sure we'll be getting some more exciting videos soon, some more UFO footage coming out soon. So, thanks for watching, guys. Someone's saying, what's up with the channel name change? After I had my contact experience in September, I had a load of spiritual experiences in a couple of weeks after that, and after like having this, I guess, realization of like the absolute reality beyond form, it's like I popped out of existence and saw that everything was just a dream. And that the dream was over from that perspective, because it was just a dream and I wasn't dreaming it anymore. So the entire life just disappeared in a wisp. It was great relief to know that all this is just a dream and it was over. But then I came back into the dream and it was real again. So I had this experience, and after I had this experience, I was walking back from the place where I had this experience, and my higher self gave me the name Xenoplex, which means like Zeno is ancient Greek for, I didn't know this at the time, but Zeno, I looked it up and I found that Zeno meant of alien origin and Plex meant of multiple parts. So it's like a multi-dimensional being. Like this is it's like who I am as a soul. It's like on a soul level I'm connected to many different consciousnesses, i.e. many parts, Plex, and I'm of alien origin. Like most parts of my soul seem to be like extraterrestrial oriented, like Zeno of alien origin, like not from this world. So that's where Xenoplex came from. And I chose Ray because Ray is my counterpart's second part of his name, Tahinio Ray, and my Yael counterpart. And Ray means creative power, I believe. Ray Ra, same thing. And I had to have two names on Facebook, so I sort of chose it sort of on ad hoc on the spur of the moment, and it's so it sort of stuck. So I couldn't just have a single name on Facebook, so I chose Xenoplex Ray. Originally Xenoplex Ra, but it wasn't quite resonating, and that's why I realised that Tahenio Ray prefers Tahenio Ray than Tahenio Ra for some reason. Perhaps because Ra is very much associated with the Law of One material, which is great stuff, but they have a slightly different perspective. So, yeah, I understand the Floyd. I couldn't possibly talk about my contact experience in 2 lines in a chat box. But I will add, prior to this happening about 3 months, a TR3B, or what looked like, was hovering over my home for about 3 minutes, about half a mile in the sky. Interesting, because the TR3B is the triangle shaped craft, yeah? And Bashar has a triangle shaped craft, which I'm sure you probably know because it looks like you've got a Bashar symbol in your image. So it could have been Bashar, Yael. I think Yael have triangle shaped craft. I started seeing images because I don't consciously recall my contact experience. It was just a period of missing time before, distinct missing time, because I was in a different location. I felt like a different look in a different way, but I think now I was actually in a different location because I was across the path where I thought I was. And also, like, when I came round again, there was like all fighter jets flying around my head, so it was a distinct missing time. I started to recall some of it, and during a channeling, people asked me about it, and I saw an image of a black triangle coming down. So it seems the Yael used black triangle craft as well. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll probably try and do more live streams. So I'm not sure when. So at the minute, I've just been releasing a channeling every Wednesday. I might have a little break from it. Who knows? Who knows? I might carry on doing regular channelings on Wednesdays. So I'm not quite sure when I do them, but I've certainly enjoyed doing this. Be nice if we got a load more UFO sightings, so we could have lots more UFO analysis. Maybe I'll start looking out for some more interesting UFOs. We've got to start getting more sightings soon. We haven't really had any interesting sightings. There was the one that CNN and those released. I think that's what they call the Tic Tac UFO, like end of 2017. Apart from that, there's been like nothing like really interesting I'm aware of since the Chicago UFO. If any of you know of any interesting like UFO sightings, leave them in the chat box. I nearly always read the chat messages. I don't reply very often because it's just too much energy to reply to everyone's comments. But I nearly always see them. They tend to pop up on my phone, and I certainly read 95% of messages that come in. I'm sure I missed some, but I try and read all the messages that come in. So if you've got any ideas, so if you see any interesting UFO sightings, or there's any, or even any older ones, but particularly newer ones, you'd like me to do an analysis of, I will do so. Who knows? Maybe I'll start analysing some of the older ones, and we can work on some of the older sightings while we're waiting for some new ones to come in. It's got to start happening soon. I mean, over the next 9 years. I know 9 years is 9 years, and it seems like a long time. But I truly believe this is going to be an interesting 9 years. We're starting the beginning of a new cycle. So I've got this theory. So Bashar talks about cycles of 9, and I'm not sure what he says about them because I've not watched his video. But I've got this theory. I had this theory before I had this recent contact experience, and basically I felt like something was going to happen basically a week before it did. They came a week early. I was to within 9 years, I was a week out. So it might be a personal thing, and it certainly is a personal thing to some extent, but I've got this theory we're going through these 9-year cycles. And it started, well, it's been probably going on for a long time, but around 2000, of course, this was known as a big shift point. And then 2009, beginning of the second cycle, a second shift. This was when I had my awakening experience. And I know a lot of people had awakening experiences or UFO sightings around 2009, be it around 2010, 2011, around this time. See, stuff tends to happen like a year or two either side of these cycles. They're not spot on for everyone. It'd be too obvious if everyone happened on the same date. So, and 2012, the famous point, because I had my experience on like the third day of my 33rd birthday, which was the 21st of September 2009, which was the equinox 2009. And I would later worked out that that was exactly 3 years, 3 months and 3 days, or my birthday, because it was on the weekend of my birthday, which was the 3 days from the 18th, the 19th and the 21st, to when I'd experienced on the 21st for my birthday on the 18th. And I worked out that December the 21st, 2012 was exactly 3 years, 3 months and 3 days after my 33rd birthday, which was on 3 days after, on the third day of my 33rd birthday celebration. So lots of threes. It's all connected. 333, 666, 999. Tesla talks about this. And hey, Malik. So Tesla talks about the significance of the 3, the 6, the 9. Some people say that life goes in 7-year cycles. My opinion is it's going in 9-year cycles. But who knows? So yes, you got 2000, big awakening, the millennium. Bit before I woke up, I didn't believe any of that. All I knew about was a millennium bug and everyone's computers were going to break, so we all had to buy new computers, and it was all a big scam by Microsoft. No one's computer broke at all. That's a great scam by Microsoft, wasn't it? They must have made billions out of that idea. Your computer's going to break because we only had 2 digits in the date for 2000, but it just ticked over from 99 to 00, and no one's computer broke. They probably knew that, but they just put it out there. The millennium bug. Everyone has to spend billions on new computers. What a scam that was. Anyway, so that was apparently a big awakening time as well, like 2000 and 2009. That's when I had my big awakening and first contact experience. And then 9 years later, 2018, I talked about this. I did a couple of videos prior to this happening, saying that I believed like September, the equinox, September 2000 time was going to be a big shift in consciousness. And it turns out I had a big contact experience again, and a massive awakening associated with the contact experience. And so my theory is that going like the next 9-year cycle will be, where's 9 years after 2018, 2027. I think Bashar talks, someone said that Bashar talked about the sort of 2025 to 2027 as a big fulcrum point, a big tilting point. And then 9 years after 2027, you've got 2036. 3 and 6 is a 9 again, interestingly. But so this would be 2 9-year cycles from now, and this is when I intuit that open contact will occur around 2036. And Bashar gave an original window for open contact as 2025 to 2033, and this sort of covers this first cycle, the prior cycle. So it could happen in 9 years if we really get our act together and really get like awakening and follow our highest excitement and like really make this happen. I believe that this window where first contact could occur in the next at the end of this next 9-year cycle, 2025, 2027, 2028, 2029, sometime around that period. But I think if we miss that, according to my theory and my analysis, we will go to, which is more likely, as I understand it at this point, 2036, which is, Bashar gives sort of like 2033 to 2035, I believe, currently, as a likely open window for contact. And so I'm sensing into 2036, because this is this 9-year cycle. But towards the end of the cycles, it gets very intense, according to the last couple of years, like what it's been like. So it's like what seems to be like basing it on my own experience, my own personal experience, but I believe this taps into the collective idea. Yeah, let's get this screen off. Let's get me full screen. Way. There we go. So this is how I feel the cycles go. So you working on the 2009 to 2018 cycle. So I believe this cycle is about to occur again, and I feel it all the time, more and more. This for the past 6 months, I've had this theory, and I'm getting more and more confirmation that this is real. Like, it definitely seems to be happening. We definitely seem to have entered a new cycle. So 2009, like a lot of people, like I believe over the next couple of years at the beginning of this cycle are going to have big awakenings. I've had this contact experience, like a second awakening. My mind finally seems to start quietening down, particularly the last couple of days. It went a bit crazy, just all these crazy thoughts, and then I've had a really peaceful mind over the last couple of days. So fingers crossed, my mind has finally given up the go, and I'm just going to move into this peace. So I believe over the next 2 or 3 years, probably the next 3 years, because it's in 3-year cycles. 333 is part of the 9-year cycle. It's split down into threes. So over the next 3 years, so it would have been between 2009 and 2012, which was the fabled prophecy date. That was the awakening period of this 9-year cycle. I believe there's going to be lots of people having awakenings on a variety of levels. It'll be different how each person awakens, whether it's just an awakening to like conspiracy theories and a deeper understanding of what's really going on with the world. And I believe this is connected to, in my theory, the opening of the third eye. Like when our third eye opens, we have access to a sort of observing wisdom that can observe when we're locked into our mind. And I think a lot of people waking up to the conspiracies and the truth about what's going on this planet is connected to the awakening of this third eye chakra, because until this higher consciousness center awakens, we're so fully locked into our mind that we can't actually see outside our physical mind. And that's why some people just don't seem to be able to fathom the idea that their beliefs aren't true, that like what they believe is true, they just can't see out of it. And I believe this is something to do with the conscious shift into the awakening of the third eye. But once our third eye awakens, we can somehow begin to observe our minds and observe our thoughts and say, hey, like for me it was like 9/11, and like my mind kept saying, this can't be true, this can't be true, this can't be true, it's got to be, they can't have made all this up. But something inside me saying, well, this looks really suspicious. And I think it's because there's like, perhaps it's what some call the intellect awakening or the third eye awakening, but it seems to be connected to, I sense, possibly a third eye awakening, when suddenly we can begin to observe all our realities and begin to sort of stand back a bit and say, wait there, maybe what I believe isn't true. Maybe there's other possibilities. And up until that point, we're so like locked in our belief system and our thought patterns that, you know, if we've been told over and over and over and over again that's, you know, 9/11 was carried out by Muslims with box cutters, like, I need. 9/11's cool. It woke a lot of people up, but I think we need to choose a more positive. Like, who cares? It is positive. Woke everyone up. So like somehow we have this awakening, and then we can begin to say, wait, then maybe I'm not true. Maybe just because I did believe that, maybe there's other options. But it seems until we have this initial awakening, something occurs in people. We seem to be like you see some people, they just won't even entertain the possibility. They almost like go blank faced and they can't hear you. And so anyway, to get back to what I was saying, like the next 3 years, 2018 to 2021, 2020 being a very interesting year because synchronicity, how it reflects for me, is 2020 clear vision. And these things all connect because we're creating our own reality, and it's my reality. Welcome to my reality. It's our reality. So this must have some relevance on all our levels. So between now and it seems to be like the September equinox that really seems to be the initiation point of this point. So between September 2018 and September equinox 2021, we're going to go through a phase of awakening. Lots of people are going to have awakenings, whether it's just an awakening to observing conspiracies and seeing there's possibly more. And we're seeing this a lot at the minute. Lots of people are waking up to conspiracies. Like before, it's like so many people seem much more open-minded now. It's like not everyone believes 9/11 was a cover-up, not everyone believes in UFOs, not everyone believes in self-realization, not everyone believes in ascension, but all of a sudden, like, it seems to be a possibility to people. People just don't block you out and say, no. It's not like that anymore. It seems to have shifted dramatically over the past couple of years. People are open to the possibility. They're like, yeah, maybe. And that is a significant awakening, from my opinion. So we're already seeing this. We're already seeing the evidence of the beginning of the new cycle, in my opinion. So the first 9-year cycle, 2018, or not the first, but this new cycle, this new 9-year cycle, perhaps we could call it the third 9-year cycle, 2000 being the first one. I was still asleep in that one, woke up for the second 9-year cycle. I begin to awaken to conspiracies, 2017, 2018, 2019, contact experience, big awakening. So that was like the second, we could call it, 9-year cycle. And now we're entering into the third 9-year cycle, and the third, which began September equinox 2018, according to my calculations, my theory, my instincts. So we're in the third 3 years of this first 9-year cycle, which in my interpretation is the awakening 3 years, the 3 awakening years of the cycle. So we're going to see lots of awakenings, like people awakening on different levels, whether it's just awakening to conspiracies, awakening to deep peace, the silence within the mind, awakening to oneness, to unity consciousness, awakening to the absolute. Like, I think perhaps it's connected to how far people have gone as a soul. Like it seems there's different layers of consciousness on a soul level on the planet at this time. Like some souls are like super evolved, like Muji, who just like woke up to like the absolute out of the blue. And I think like when we go through these awakenings, if we're like more like indigenous to earth and perhaps got like more soul aspects in third density, third, fourth dimensional realities, physical realities, if our soul is more made up of because our soul is made up of multiple conscious lives, like different dimensions, realities, planes, past, futures, all connected. I think for those beings that have souls that are more oriented around a third density reality, the awakenings over this next 3 years will be more oriented around just awakening out to the illusion, to the rubbish that's spouted, to the limited belief systems that humans have lived by for years, into the greater potential that perhaps life isn't exactly like we were taught at school. Awakening to conspiracies, UFOs, the possibility of ascension, enlightenment, self-realization. I think for the people. But who knows? It's unique for everyone, and this just because like this is the awakening you've had doesn't mean you're like lower consciousness. We all start somewhere. Like this was my initial awakening, but it went fairly rapidly into deeper states of consciousness within a couple of years, personally. But also I noticed some very high conscious people have very subtle awakenings, and it doesn't have to be a bam in your face massive awakening. Like don't be putting yourself down saying, oh, I'm not high enough consciousness because my awakening was only small. It doesn't work like that at all. I know some very high consciousness people who've just really had glimpses of like presence and emptiness, and just very briefly, but that's all it really takes to begin the unraveling of the ego mind complex. So yes, so it's going to be different for everyone, perhaps relating to where we are as a soul, who we are as a soul being, as a soul matrix, or where we are. So other people over this next 3-year period between now and 2021 will have awakenings to presence, to the deep silence that pervades everything, to the infinite, vast nothingness, the God being that you are in the core of yourself. Perhaps we'll see more awakenings to this. Perhaps some people will awake to, and it's different for everyone. Like, people awaken different patterns. It doesn't necessarily mean anything to do with how consciously evolved you are as a soul. There's many facts that I don't understand, that we don't, perhaps we never will understand, that is part of the mystery as to how awakening happens. It all begins and ends in mystery, as one of my great teachers quotes. So there may be some awakenings to oneness in this time, in this next 3-year period. Maybe awakenings to the absolute, completely popping out of existence itself and like into the void, like beyond anything. Multi-dimensional awakenings, channeling abilities awakening, energetic healing powers awakening, like Kundalini awakenings happening. There's going to be lots of different awakenings happening, in my opinion, and it's already happening. Well, I've seen a lot of, not so many major awakenings that I've come to my awareness, but a lot, because mostly when people have these major awakenings, if they're anything like me, they tell no one about it. Because when I really knew nothing about this, when I had my major awakening, I didn't tell anyone about it for a year. No one. Because I thought I was the only person ever to have had this experience. Like, when literally I'd been listening to Bashar and listening to Eckhart Tolle, but I didn't really put it together. Like Eckhart Tolle was just saying, this is how to quiet your mind, stop thinking. And Bashar was saying, follow your excitement and you'll raise your frequency. And all of a sudden I'm blown out of all reality into the cosmos. And I was convinced I was the only person it had ever happened to, literally. Till I found the Celestine Prophecy, the movie. I was like, oh, that's what happened to me. And they made a fucking movie about it. So there's perhaps a lot of people having huge awakenings, but they haven't felt comfortable to come forward about it yet. Maybe it takes some time to integrate. Or often people that have big awakenings, but then I forgot it. Like, it's almost like you forget about it because your mind's been going along in your regular day-to-day routines for so long, and then you have this massive awakening. It's like you can't integrate it. You just sort of put it on the back burner. I remember being at work one day doing my gardening job, and I was like, holy shit, I had that crazy experience like a month ago and I completely forgot about it. How could I forget about something as fantastical as that? But it just seems the nature of the mind. It seems the mind, we get sucked back into our old reality, and it's like gets pushed into our subconscious. We can't integrate it somehow, and perhaps it's taken like 9 years for me to integrate it, and still integrating. Yes, so that's the theory. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to see many awakenings on a variety of levels over the next 3 years, between now and 2021. Between 2021 and 2024, it's like a kind of, I guess, a good time. a time of like really, for me it was a time of, well, what happened in that period for me. I think the awakening deepened for me. It began to become more integrated in my reality. It's like I went through a period after spending some time with Muji of coming into a deep peace. Like for about 3 months I was in this deep peace and joy. And I was like, yay, I'm nearly enlightened. But what happened towards the end of that 3-year cycle was, even like sort of midway through that 3-year cycle, or even at the beginning of it, I think it was the beginning of like embodying the awakening, like beginning to like bring it into my life, but also beginning to drudge up the pain and the trauma and the healing and the integrating and the rebalancing of the psyche, the ego, beginning to like merge the realities. Like so the first 3-year cycle is like the awakening cycle. And then the 2nd year cycle, you begin to like bring your ego and your physical psyche into the awakened perspective, and they start sort of battling with each other. They don't integrate. And then the last part of the cycle was like where we really intensely like begin to embody our awakened state, and like anything that's out of alignment is forced to the surface. And we seem to be going through the tail end of that now. Like a lot of people that had these awakenings like 9 years ago, like myself, have gone through this intensely difficult and challenging, like polarized last couple of years, where like all our pain, all our childhood trauma, all our negative beliefs have like been going mental and crazy, and like in like flip-flopping between, as like one of my teachers says, between like pain and enlightenment as we integrate it, and now it seems to be like forced into us, like this awakened soul consciousness, this true self, this infinite depth of this infinite silence, this just infinite vastness that's at the core of our being, that's who we truly are, is beginning to like force its way out into the forefront of us now and really ground into our reality, and but really at the time like force the last elements of our ego out. So as this new cycle begins, it seems some of us, I know like quite a lot of people are more advanced than me, and they've really integrated this and really very well settled into this self-realized state now. But like it's like for myself personally, and I know for a lot of other people, we're still like really going through the tail end of like the ego and the negative beliefs, like trying to grasp on and like really being purged from the system. So it seems this is what it's about, the first 3 years. So we're going to go through this again, like it will be repeated in us that's already gone through it, but it'll be like taken up to the next octave. So I guess for myself, I'll probably be like, and like a lot of you guys who have gone through these awakenings already will be like, this next 3 years will really about having some big, deep openings, deep insights into the nature of reality, and reminding ourselves who we truly are. And then I think like the next 3 years after that, we're really going to settle into this deep peace, this deep silence, this deep vast infiniteness that sort of blends into, sort of pervades our whole reality and makes us sort of see that it's all us and we are oneness. So I think for a lot of us, it's going to be like going into this deep oneness, and perhaps the last 3 years of this cycle will be like, you know, going into deep levels of self-realization, and you know, seeing how we can serve the planet and seeing what our role here is as a guide and a way shower. But also for the new people that are awakening over this new cycle, and I believe this is going to be the first like major awakening on Earth, the first like, you know, like large percentages of the population going through big awakenings and a big collective shift, the first major collective shift. I think the first 3 years we'll see the awakenings, and the second 3 years we're going to see a lot of changes, like from 2021 to 2024. Like reality is going to change a lot as people begin to integrate this new consciousness into their reality. And then 2024 to 2027 is probably going to be a bit tumultuous, as like it really begins to like balance out, and like any negative aspects left in our reality get forced to the surface. So, and then 2027 to 2026, this is when reality is really going to shift. We're going to really begin to integrate into a fourth density reality where life begins to become unrecognizable from what we know now, like multidimensional phenomena become natural, like time travel, teleportation, telekinesis, telepathy really begin to like break through into the mass collective, and reality shifts. We'll start seeing like probably like black budget technology, like free energy devices come to the fore, anti-gravity technology, reverse engineered ET technology coming forth, and then towards the end of that period, like open contact with extraterrestrials and regular interaction between humans and extraterrestrials. And by then we will have really like transferred, like around, you know, 2025, 2026, we're going to be like living in some sort of Star Wars multi-dimensional, extra-dimensional reality where the standard of life and the multi-dimensional nature of reality is really going to be like embedded in our reality and accelerating and growing fantastically. God, this was supposed to be a short video. So yeah, it was when I live streamed the UFO sighting. That was on the equinox. That was exactly 2 weeks after my contact experience. The contact experience was the 11th of September. I live streamed, the Yahyel showed up for a live stream on the 23rd of September, which was the date I pointed to, which I thought was going to be a big shift point. I thought I was maybe going to have like this big awakening, and which I now know was a contact experience. See, what happened in 2009, I had this experience, this massive awakening experience, where I had lots of telepathic communication with extraterrestrials, with Bashar and his civilization, and what I now know is likely, I believe, the Yahyel. And there was this period where my frequency went extremely high, and then I freaked out, and I suspected something might have happened in that period, but I didn't remember anything. So I sort of said, well, I think I might have had contact, but I don't remember anything. So I started just to call it a self-realization experience, or an awakening experience. And so I felt this experience was going to come again on the equinox of September, 23rd of September, but it didn't. It came 12 days earlier, on the September the 11th, which was a significant day for me, as we talked about before. Like 9/11 woke me up too, basically. Woke me up out the dream of reality. Like, it was my big awakening, like out of my old beliefs, like 9/11, because I studied engineering. So once I watched 9/11 Loose Change 9/11 second edition recut, I could like instantly see something dodgy had happened, just by the way the towers collapsed. And like, because I had an engineering degree, it was like, even though my mind would say this can't be happening, it's like I knew, it's like, wait there, buildings don't do that. So it's interesting. So what happened? So I basically had this experience on September the 11th, 2018, where I had contact with the Yahyel, because it was initially first missing time, but there was a distinct missing time, like before and after, where there was just fighter jets everywhere, and out of nothing, and my frequency was through the roof. I've done many videos on this already, particularly on my Facebook channel. Look me up, Xenoplex Ray, and look through my previous YouTube videos from around that time. I did a live stream every day for 2 weeks after the experience, just like integrating and putting it out there. So very interesting video I did exactly after the experience on September the 11th. So what happened was I had contact with the Yahyel. I started to recall it in meditation afterwards, very clearly, very vividly. And so I now know, and what happened was I recognized the energy just before the contact experience as exactly the same energy that I had in 2009, which I haven't experienced since. And I now know what that was the Yahyel ship. I thought it might have been the Sasani first, but I'm fairly certain it was the Yahyel both times. I now know it was the Yahyel craft coming in and coming very close into my energy field, and my energy field merging with the energy field of the Yahyel, and me going into this multi-dimensional higher consciousness state, which is freaking amazing. Which is why I spent like 7 years trying to get back to this state after the first experience, and then you realise that's not what it's about. You'll never get back to an experience. It's not what an awakening is about, but we all go through it. So I finally experienced it again, like 9 years later, briefly. So I'm not waiting another 9 years. I mean, it's not worth living life for once every 9 years, is it? So I now know that what happened this time on 2018 was a contact experience with the Yahyel, and I recognised the energy in this experience was exactly what happened before and after last time. But I don't recall anything from last time, but I now know, or I'm fairly 99% sure, that last time I had this awakening experience, I also had contact with the Yahyel, but I remember nothing, and still remember nothing from that experience. Perhaps never will consciously. Or who knows, maybe I can remember some of that if I meditate on it. And so I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, someone just mentioned, and so I actually predicted this experience was going to happen again, because I'd worked out this 9-year cycle thing prior and made a video about it called Everything Will Change This September, as a part of a pun and a joke on my original video, which sort of launched my YouTube channel, because it got 44,000 views, which is a lot for a small channel like me. Called Everything Will Change This October. So I sort of made a pun on that, called Everything Will Change This September, I think, where I talk about this prediction that there's going to be a big shift of consciousness on the equinox, September the 23rd, 2018. And I sort of see this because I see everything as a reflection of me. So if my consciousness goes through a dramatic shift on this reality, I'll make a tremendous shift of consciousness to a new parallel reality. So a lot of people will be seeing big shifts of consciousness as a reflection of me. So this is how I sort of knew that we would go through a big shift of consciousness, and how the so yeah, someone just put me off because someone says, I think it's worth looking at the cycle 2019 to 2025. Yeah, because a lot of people talk about 7-year cycles. And that'd be interesting because I believe it was 2 years ago that Bashar said everything is going to change this October. The video that sort of launched my YouTube channel that got all these subscribers. So, and that was 2 years before the end of this cycle, which would have been 7 years. And things also run in like yearly cycles and also 2-year cycles, and things that happen like 2 years prior tend to manifest. Like a lot of the stuff that's manifesting now, I believe, is because Bashar suggested it was going to happen 2 years ago, and it happens 2 years later. So there's cycles within cycles within cycles. But yeah, so basically I predicted that something was going to happen like in 2 different videos. One I think was the one called Everything Will Change This September. And another one I did just a few days before, saying we were about to go through the biggest shift of consciousness ever on the equinox, and which was the 23rd of September 2018, which is when I expected to have this experience, which was I now know as a contact experience, but I wasn't sure what the experience was because I didn't remember it as a contact experience from last time it happened. But it didn't happen then. It happened 2 weeks prior on September the 11th, which of course is a significant day for a lot of people because it woke a lot of us up. But that original date that I pointed to was the date when the Yahyel showed up on the Facebook live stream, which is still recorded on my Facebook channel. There's a copy of it on my YouTube channel, but it's not as good quality as the original on the Facebook channel. The original live stream is still accessible on my YouTube channel. If you go to my Facebook live stream from September the 23rd, Equinox Day 2018, which is the day I pointed to in 2 videos, or roughly pointed to, but that was the day I certainly felt was going to be the significant turning point. I'm sure I must have mentioned that date. That was the date when we had the contact with the Yahyel on the Facebook live stream, and it's all recorded there. So I don't want to say I told you so because I was slightly wrong, but I was darn close. Heavenly close. Yeah, so that's my theory about cycles of 9, and I'm sure I'll be talking about this more in the future because this is my own unique theory. Well, not probably, I'm sure other people have I've not heard anyone else talk about it. I've heard Bashar talk about his cycles of 9. I've not watched his video on that. I probably will download that at some time to find out what it's all about. I know there's a clip available on YouTube, but he doesn't specifically, from what I've heard, point to like 2000, 2009, 2018, 2027, 2036. I'm the only one this is my own sort of theory I've come up with myself, but I was hinted at by, I was like, I was seeing this cyclical pattern. I felt like something was going to happen this year, and I know Tesla was like fascinated by this 369 formula. It breaks down into 3 threes, and there's lots of threes. And I was also pointed to the fact, by the way, the fact that my first awakening happened on the 33rd day of my 33rd birthday celebration, which was the Equinox 2009. And my 33rd birthday, the 18th, like 3 days before, was exactly 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days before the December the 21st, 2012, the fabled Mayan calendar date for the big awakening of humanity, which I do believe was a significant turning point. And so this sort of pointed me to this idea that there seems to be this 333, 999 cycle going on. So this is where this theory came from. And I'm repeating myself. So I think we're all about done. I'm sure I'll be talking about, well, I'll definitely be talking about this 9-year cycle, because the more I feel it, the more I feel we've begun a new cycle, the more I feel the energy is great. And we're still having some rough days as we purge our stuff out of the system, but we've got to purge out our system because we can't be in great energy when we've got crappy beliefs and crappy negative perspectives trying to hold on to our reality. It's impossible. So while we still have those perspectives, the positive energy is going to purge them out. And understand, like, once you've had like an awakening to, on whatever level, to a deeper level of consciousness, you've had that, like, that bliss experience or that causeless joy, or that deep peace, or the sense of oneness, or a multi-dimensional awakening, or ET contact experience, or a channeling experience. Once you've had that experience, that is beginning the breaking down of your ego, and it's a process that's ongoing. And don't beat yourself up about it too much, because it's a purging out, and it will happen no matter what techniques, tools, and they all appear to help. I can't say whether they do or not. Maybe it's just all an illusion and we're just playing a game. They certainly seem to help, so I'd certainly recommend you keep going with following your excitement, doing your spiritual practice, doing your meditation, your self-inquiry, whatever your practice is, because it does break it down, or it does break down over time. It's connected. Perhaps it's like all backwards, and perhaps from the future, like it's breaking it down, and it's not doing the practice that's breaking it down. It's the future reality where we're awake, pulling the practice into our reality. So we create, who knows? But it does break down, and I guarantee you, if you've had an awakening and you're going through suffering and you're going through like intense times when the mind's going, and the mind wants to cry and moan about everything, as mine was doing the last couple of days, until I finally was like, not listening to this anymore. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. What are you talking about, you crazy mind? It's like this breakthrough into this awakened state, and it's happening for all of us. So hang in there if you're going through challenging times. We're coming to the end of this intense period. So don't worry. Everything's okay. The universe has your back. Have a wonderful day. Shivai. See you in the next video. I'll probably be doing more live streams because I've really enjoyed this. I'm supposed to be relaxing. So I've been through such an intense transformation. It's like I need to relax lots, and I get overexcited, especially when I've got awesome live streams going like this. So I have to calm my energy field down. Calm. So thanks, guys. I'll see you all next time. Shivai. Yeah, and if you have any ideas for any UFO cases, any new or old ones that you'd like me to review and talk about, put a link in the chat box, and I read all the chat comments. I don't respond to them all because it's too much work and too much energy, but I do read them all, and I occasionally even respond. So thanks, guys. See you all soon. Bye. How do I end the live stream? Also, let me know in the chat box how good quality you think the audio and video was, because I don't really know unless I watch it back, which I could do, I guess. I can't watch back an hour and 22 minutes of myself. How do I end? Stop streaming. See you guys. Bye.